Hey guys, Jeremy here with Simple Little Life. It is a cold, wet, rainy day here in southern Alberta. And on cold, wet, rainy days, sometimes they just feel like knife maintenance days. Today definitely feels like that. The knife we're going to take a look at and do a little work on is my Benchmade Griptilian. I get comments, a lot of people saying, why are you calling this Spyderco a Benchmade? It's a Benchmade, right there. Benchmade. I ended up breaking the pocket clip on it and I made a new one. I have a video about that. A lot of folks were wondering how this is holding up. It's holding up pretty good. I made this out of a drywall knife. But after spending months and months on end in my pocket, it ends up just picking up pocket lint. The action isn't what I'd like it to be. I like it to be really snappy, not a chance with my index fingers. We're just gonna take it apart. We're gonna clean everything up, put it back together, maybe put a little lube in there and get this thing ready so it's all work that time. So it's more like that every time. The tools we're gonna need, a T10 Torx and a T6. Ooh, that's gross. We're getting a little rust on their clip there because this is just a spring steel, it's not a stainless. And then I believe we just have this one, this one, this one, and our pivot. Yeah, I remember the first time I ever took a knife apart, I was really, really nervous. And obviously different knives have different complexities to them, but one thing that is handy, even if you don't ever want to publish the video, is do a video, use your phone and film the process. And it's amazing how many times you can just go back and see, oh, that's what that screw is for, something like that. I believe that one can come off afterwards, if I'm correct. I've had this knife apart maybe once or twice. Okay, now this should just come apart. Oh, look at the grimies in there. That is nasty McNastersons. Look at that. Oh, yuck. Clean the blade. We're gonna get a little sharpened as well. So far, these screws are fairly easy to keep track of. Look at the lint in there. That is a good indication that it was high time to do a little maintenance. I can just pull this spring out here. Pull this one out here, and then this thing should slide. There we go. And those springs could come off if I wanted to. I might take them off and do a proper cleanup. Look at all the lint we've got. There we go. That is pretty simple actually when you kind of boil it all down. Like, what did that take? If I wasn't filming, this would take about a minute to get it all done. So I'm gonna go ahead and start cleaning all these parts, and then we will reassemble. I need a thumbnail for this video, so why don't we just do this arrangement real quick. Something that will be visually interesting, that hopefully was enough to get you to click on this video. There. How would that be for a thumbnail? We'll see, we might use that, we might not. Some acetone, some glovages. Start with the blade. My knives end up looking like this very often because probably like you, one of the things I use a knife for the most is opening packages. So this is all just tape residue. Acetone makes fairly quick work of that. Actually, shouldn't let it ever get this bad. This is kind of embarrassing. Goes without saying, you want to use a little caution when you're cleaning a knife like this. It is a knife. We really want to make sure we get all this area. A little tiny piece. Stick it in there. Give it a little 1-2. Spinaroo. Really doesn't take that long. And what a difference it makes. Oh, this little pin comes out. That's cool. The cleaned one, the not cleaned one. You know, it's kind of funny how some people are partial to certain brands. I just find it fascinating. I know there's a lot of folks that love Spyderco, and I know Spyderco makes good knives. Nothing wrong with them, but for some reason, they just don't do it for me. And I do a podcast with my good friend. That podcast is called Can-Am Soup, if you're interested. But we do a lot of knife talk, and I tell you what, that guy is the biggest knife collector I've ever seen. And he's not a huge fan of Benchmade. And so we kind of get into it on that show. Tries to razz me and make me feel bad for liking Benchmades. But I mean, you know what? The guy doesn't like mayonnaise, so if you can trust his opinion. I'm gonna take those springs off just so I can make sure I get in there. Right inside that little channel. Spin it around. Oh yeah. Now we'll put this on before I take the other one off. Get these off, just give them a little push. Now we'll do these little bearings. Clean one on the left, uncleaned one on the right. Really, I think the biggest thing that was causing my blade not to deploy properly was just lint and dust. And you pay good money for knives, so you might as well look after them. I have a video on my channel about making this pocket clip if you're interested. I didn't have this etched on there. I've done that recently since I've gotten all these different lasers to review, but I'm gonna whip over to the sink. I'm not gonna bring you guys with me. I'm just gonna use some hand soap. Wash this off. Actually, I'm gonna wash one first, and I'll just show you the difference. Check that difference out. This is the clean one, the dirty one. It's kind of hard to believe that's all just like pocket lint and stuff. You know what they say, a clean knife, a happy knife, and a happy knife, a happy wife, something like that. There's some debate about whether you should oil these bearings or not. I think a little bit is fine. I'm gonna be careful not to get too much. The one thing is the oil will attract more lint, but it's also a moving part, and kind of some people really get into it whether or not you should oil these or not. I'm going to. So now we got to get this thing back together. This hole, come on, buddy, you can get in there. Get in there. Oh, my hands are slippery from the oil. Okay, there's one. There she goes. Excellent. I think the next part is that this scale, it might not be the easiest thing for you guys to see. I'm just trying to get that washer perfectly lined up in there so I can get this started. Come on, you stupid thing. Okay, there we go. The part that makes it challenging is the axis lock. Get the blade started on that. Good. Now, we just got to slide this other washer in. Ah, we got it. That wasn't so bad. Now, make sure that doesn't come out. It shouldn't, because it's got tension on it. Before I go very far, I want to put this pivot screw in. I'm not going to tighten it up yet, but I just don't want that coming out. Okay, now, the one thing I did notice is that I believe I'm missing this screw on this side, because I don't remember taking that out. I remember it being on this side, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm missing a screw right there. There's a difference of opinions about whether or not you should use a thread locker. I don't, because I just don't have troubles. I've never found, well, as I say that, this one's gone, but if you do want to use a thread locker, just make sure you don't use the red thread lock, the permanent. You want the blue stuff, the removable. And just the slightest little bit, like even get like a little hobby paintbrush and just barely put a dab on it. You know, these Torx bits, you got to be gentle with them, right? They're easy to strip out. And if you had a fastener that had Loctite on it and it was super tight, you'd end up with some problems. So now we're just going to kind of tune this. I'm going to tighten it up. That's really stiff, and we're just going to crack it off just a touch. Oh yeah. That's what I'm looking for. Haha, I like it. Now, I wonder if this hip probably could use an edge. Yeah, we're gonna give this a quick sharpen, and this will be ready to go back into my pocket. As I'm sitting here, I forgot to put the clip back on, so. Okay, there we go. Okay, I've just cleaned up this edge a little bit. I actually just used the paper wheel of the razor sharp edge making system, essentially just power stropped it. And if you're curious about that system, if you've never heard of it, I keep mine plugged in all the time. Really handy for just super quick touch-ups on blades. I'll put a link up in this corner. You can check that video out. You know, if you've never taken apart your knives before, I would encourage you to give it a try. And like I mentioned, you know, use your phone, take a video of it. It's a very relaxing thing to do. And I also kind of like seeing exactly how my knives work. You know, like the access lock system. I didn't know how that worked. I mean, I had a general idea, but you can't see the springs from the outside. So to get into it and be like, ah, that's how they did that. It's a lot of fun, really enjoyable. And again, on a rainy, cold day, this was a fun little hobby. Thank you guys for coming along. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.